Salute of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is convened in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey. Let the official minutes reflect that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publishing a notice in the Asbury Park Press on Wednesday, January 8th, 2020, the Press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger, and also forwarded to the Toms River Times, Toms River Patch, and WOBM News on Monday, January 6th, 2020, and therefore posting same on the Town Hall Bulletin Board for such notices and filing same with the Township Clerk, pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Township Council on Friday, January 3rd, 2020. The meeting dates have also been posted on the Township webpage. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Here.
Councilman Kopp.
Here.
Councilman Lotano.
Here.
Councilman Roderick.
Here.
Councilman Turnbach.
Here.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Here.
Council President Maruka.
Present.
First item, the approval of the minutes from September 22nd, 2020.
Move the minute.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Roderick. Councilwoman Yurick.
No,
I didn't second that.
I'm sorry. Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
No, it was
We'll do that over. Motion made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Lotano. Councilwoman Yurick.
yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
yes.
Next, we will be honoring two items today, Extra Mile Day and the National Family Caregiver Month.
Move the resolutions and presentations.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Turnbach. Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
I'm voting yes on that, but I just want to read just a couple of excerpts from this proclamation because it really seems fitting for our community and the way Toms River has come together through this COVID pandemic and just some of the initiatives we've undertaken, and it really underscores that. It says, whereas Toms River Township is a community which acknowledges that a special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort, volunteerism, and service. It is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with total effort, commitment, and conviction to the individual's ambitions, family, friends, and community. It is a community which chooses to shine a light and celebrate individuals and organizations within the community who go the extra mile in order to make a difference and lift up fellow members of their community. The mission of the Extra Mile Day is to create 500 extra mile cities in America, and it's proud to support Extra Mile Day on November 1st. I just think this epitomizes something that was started back in April, which is our Pop the Trunk food event. And I would just like to say that this is something maybe we should bring out next Friday, a copy of this to all the volunteers. And every Friday, there are so many volunteers that come, but I think we should do that for next Friday. But also a copy of this proclamation will be sent to the Extra Mile Foundation. They asked us to email it to them because they could not be here today. And I do vote yes on that.
Next on the agenda, item 7, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, amending and supplementing various sections of Chapter 348, Land Use and Development Regulations of the Township Code. And I do report, we have heard from the Land Use Committee that they are in approval of this.
Okay. This is the final reading and public hearing on this ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand. Once called to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record.
Seeing none, I move to close the public comments portion of this minute.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Council's pleasure.
Move the ordinance on final.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Kopp. Councilwoman Yurick?
Yes.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Lotano?
Yes.
Councilman Roderick?
No.
Councilman Turnbach?
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan?
Yes.
Council President Maruka?
This ordinance on the final read has things to do with like off-street parking, some barrier island zone regulations and things of that nature. And this is something that the community has asked for us to put forward, and I vote yes.
Next on the agenda is item 8, a resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, recognizing the month of November 2020 as National Family Caregiver Month.
Move the resolution.
You've already moved that,
That's-
Allison,
That's the honoring resolution.
that was the honoring resolution, Allison.
Oh, my book is incorrect, I apologize. Item 8 on the agenda, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, authorizing the execution of a site access agreement with Capadagli Property Company, LLC, with respect to certain township-owned property within the Robbins Parkway redevelopment area.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Yurick, second by Councilman Turnbach. Councilman Yurick?
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach?
Yes.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Lotano?
Yes.
Councilman Roderick?
No.
Council Vice President Gagan?
Yes.
Council President Maruka?
Yes.
Item 9 is a resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, supporting the acquisition by purchase of 2370 Whitesville Road, Block 59, Lot 734.01, which is 9.7 acres of the County of Ocean for open space purposes.
Move the resolution. Move the resolution.
Second.
A motion was made by Council Vice President Gagan, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda items will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired on any item, that item will be considered separately. Anyone on the council have an item they'd like to consider?
Letter O, please.
Okay.
Council
Anyone?
President, Q, I'd like a roll call on Q, please.
Okay. Anyone from the public have an item on the agenda? Mr. Anderson? D as in deer. All right, anyone else? Okay, can we have a motion on the balance?
Seeing none, I move to close the, motion to move the remainder of the consent agenda except for D as in dog, O as in open, P as in Paul, and Q as in queen. Did I get it right?
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Council Vice President Gagan, to move the balance of the consent agenda with the exception of items D, B, Q, and O. Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes. Mr. Anderson, if you would like to come up for items letter D, and also item P. Do we have a microphone?
You could just,
Okay, according to D, it looks like it's $1 million for a boat ramp.
Actually, the boat ramp is in there, that has already been completed. That was that project that over in Guilford Park. We are just adjusting it for $3,100.
So we paid $1 million for a boat ramp?
We have through the process, yes.
This seems a lot of money. And then
There was a
B-
lot that had gone into the project. This project was, I'd say, a couple years in the making, Mr. Chinkalian, from DEP approvals and things of that nature. And it was something that residents of this community have been asking for quite a long time. We're waterfront community, we did not have a boat ramp to launch for the public.
Is it besides a boat ramp, is it spots for a boat? Or is
Yeah, let me.
No, Mr.
like the-
Chinkalian can give you the details on that.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, it's a concrete boat ramp with an elevated wood walkway to a parking lot. At the parking lot, there's 12 spaces, 50-foot deep spots for boats with trucks with trailers. There's also another 12 parking spaces for, like an SUV, maybe with a kayak. There's a big turnaround area. There's piers on either side, so two people can be docking or staging their boat while another person is removing it. And I can tell you, for the times I've been there, I've seen it basically full most of the time. But it's public, it's also lit.
And I don't know if you remember, I said during the pandemic a couple months back that we shouldn't really be spending so much money on stuff. I see P, that is another garbage truck.
Yes,
Right.
that's from our Public Works Department. Mr. Amoroso, can you elaborate on that? I know it was, I believe it was a 1997 vehicle that we are replacing.
I believe it was a 19-year-old vehicle with 134,000 miles on it that is well beyond its lifespan. And it was approved in the capital budget earlier in this year.
Okay, and I know maybe earlier before the pandemic, but I know this town's in a little hardship. And if I'm not mistaken, this is probably the fifth garbage truck we bought since the pandemic, probably for over $1.2 million. I'm just curious why we're spending so much money.
It's replacement equipment. We do have a large Public Works Department. We have almost 42,000 properties within the township. Most of them are residential. I mean, some of the commercial properties, obviously, we do not pick up, but there is a large demand for that. And we carefully look at each and every purchase before we do.
I'm sure you do, but I just know during this pandemic, we've been struggling as a town, and it just seems like we're spending a lot of money on these
Well,
trucks.
Mr. Anderson, in all due respect to the pandemic, there hasn't been any drop-off in essential services. So whether there's a pandemic or not, we still have to go out and collect trash for, in fact, maybe more now than ever because it's a health issue. But these are part of a replacement plan. We have a large fleet, and again, there's over 42,000 stops that we pick up every day, so it's the cost of doing
Tell me
business.
where we're auctioning off these vehicles? Did you know
They
that?
they go on the U.S., is it U.S. Gov website? Yeah, they go on U.S. Gov
US
website.
Gov bid?
Yeah, most of the time, they end up going for scrap, though, because there's not a whole lot left to them by the time we get rid of them.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Can I have a motion on D and P, please?
move to, motion for D and P.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Yurick, second by Councilman Kopp on items D and P. Councilwoman Yurick. Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes on D, no on P.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
I will say yes on both, and just a side note, reference to item P, the one truck, it's far less than had been asked for at this point. every department was in fact asked to hold back as long as possible, but it gets to the point where the maintenance is exceeding the cost, the downtime and whatnot. But again, if it were different times, you may see a lot of other stuff, but this is just the bare minimum to keep services going. So yes to P.
And Council President Maruka.
Yes to both. Okay. Item O, Councilman Roderick.
I just think, at a time like this, when we first discussed this skate park, we were told it would be, a few tens of thousands of dollars. $421,000 in the middle of a pandemic for a skate park. I would like to actually hold off on that and perhaps look into why it's so expensive. I mean, taxes are up 7% this year at the schools, 6% here at the township, and we're going to spend nearly $500,000 on a skate park. So I'd like to make a motion to table this so we can talk about it a little more.
Do we have a second? Okay. Mr. Chinkelian, do you just want to come up and give us a little bit about the project that has been, we've been working on for quite a long time here with various recreation groups in the township?
Yes, as the council is probably aware, this was requested by the residents. The engineering estimate was $450,000. Permits were applied for and received from Ocean County Soils. Again, the project was also authorized by the council to be put to bid. The bidding process did come through, and as it's about $30,000 under the engineer's estimate. We will be doing some fencing through our pool contractor, because that's less than the bid price. But again, it is under the engineer's estimate. But
Okay. And this has been in our capital budget and has been in our budget, correct?
correct. That's correct.
Thank you very much.
May I, I guess I'll have another chance when I vote, correct? Or-
Okay.
Like I said, that was before the pandemic, before unemployment shot up to 15%, before we raised taxes. I mean, we're really in a tough spot here. But if I can't get a second to table it, then I guess I'm going to have to vote no.
Okay. Can I have a motion on item O?
Move item O.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Kopp. Councilwoman Yurick.
I'm going to vote yes, and I'd like to say exactly what Mr. Chakalian said, and also Council President Maruka, that this was requested by the residents on more than one occasion. And this was put into our budget. It's in the capital budget, so it's not going to cause any additional burden at this point. It's already budgeted for. And it's things like this that people need right now to keep their sanity, quite honestly. It's an outdoor park. It'll be safe to use with precautions, and I think it's something that we are looking forward to. The mayor and I just went to a Boy Scout thing the other day, and we were asked about this park. So I vote yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
I too would like to just say, with schools, extracurricular activities and things getting cut, this is something to keep the kids in a safe place. It's right next to the police station to make sure nothing is going to happen badly. I agree with Councilman Roderick. It seems like a absolute lot of money. Unfortunately, I've learned that anytime the township does things, it's an expensive process, but I vote yes.
Councilman Roderick.
No.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes. The next item was item Q, Councilman Lotano.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Resolution Q is it's a savings of about $1.5 million from the original $4 million appropriations set up. So basically, the state mandates a reval. We pushed it off already, I believe, twice. It is going to have to happen. It's a state mandate. During this pandemic, this administration, the BA, the purchasing office, finance department, they've all pretty much they've rejected the original proposals, and they sharpened their pencils, and they basically toughened up the proposals so that it created more competition for the companies to come in there and put their bids in. The result of that was from a $4 million bid down to a $2.5 million bid. Now, that's a $1.5 million savings just from forcing basically new proposals. That'll be saved for $300,000 a year over a 5-year period off the annual budget. I just wanted to bring special notice to that could have easily slipped through the cracks of a $1.5 million savings. I think that the finance department, the purchasing department, the mayor, and the BA really deserve some credit on that for going forward with it. So with that, I motion to push Resolution Q.
Okay.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Latano, second by Councilman Yurick. Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick. Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes.
Next, we have our reports.
Make a motion for the reports?
Move the reports.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilman Yurick. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes, but I'd also like to add, if you look at the, especially the Bailey Golf Course numbers, the golf was way up this year during the pandemic. People want to be outside, they want to be doing things, just like the new fitness court by Veterans Park and the new skate park they're going to be building. Getting people outside and moving around is a great thing during this time. I vote yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes on the reports.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes.
Next, we have the bills.
Move the bill list.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilman Kopp. Councilman Turnbach.
Abstain from PO 20-4963 and 20-5150 payable to the magistrates. Abstain from PO 20-4445. That's listed as payable to Scott Basin Esquire. That's Judge Basin. He's a magistrate as well. Abstain from that. And abstain from PO 20-5246 payable to the Dasty Law Office. And abstain from PO 20-485, 20-4877, 20-4898, and 20-5000 payable to law office of Siddle, Holzapfel, and Zabarski. I'm a local attorney in town. I have conflicts with all of those. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Kopp.
I'm going to abstain from 20-04536, 20-05097, 20-05098, 20-05099 payable to Ona Little Associates, 20-04990 payable to Silverton First Aid, and 20-04880 payable to Berkeley Township. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Latano.
I have to abstain from PO-05036, only lines 4 and 5 as they pertain to Lotano development, and yes to the balance.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Abstain from PO 20-00569, 20-04537, 20-04561, and 20-04729, payable to Remington and Vernick Engineers. Abstain from PO 20-04477, 20-04653, and 20-04962, payable to Rutgers University. And POs 20-04963, lines 17 and 18, and 20-05150, lines 20 and 21, payable to, only as it pertains to recreation salaries, and yes to the balance.
Councilman Roderick?
I was unable to access the bills in Citrix for the past few days, so I'm going to abstain.
Council Vice President Gagan?
I just have one abstention, that's 20-04990, payable to Southern First Aid Squad. Yes to the remainder.
And Council President Maruka?
Abstain to 20-05246, payable to Destiny McGuckin, and 20-05089, payable to NJMVC, 20-04963, line item number 94, that's the NVC lease program, and 20-05150, line item number 88, payable to NJMVC lease program. I have a conflict, yes to the balance. Alrighty.
And next, we have elected officials' comments.
Mr. Fitzsimmons, you were going to
Yeah,
give us...
we certainly anticipate this evening there will be comments by the public on the possible purchase of the Surf Club. I just want to caution council that we're in mediation. We have confidential discussions and negotiation in progress, and that council should, in my opinion, my request, refrain from making comments and responding to questions on details of the mediation process. You certainly can express your general support or general disagreement with the purchase, but the details should remain confidential until all parties agree to the disclosure.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzsimmons. Mayor Hill?
Thank you, Council President. Several of us attended the opening of the new fitness center. Councilman Lotano, Councilwoman Urick, and Councilman Gagan were there, and I was there also. Several of us got to try some of the exercises. It's very nice. It's got 7 stations. You can do multiple exercises. Spend about 45 seconds to a minute on each and then rotate through the stations. So you can get a good workout if you're doing 7 minutes, 14 minutes, or 21 minutes. And it's a nice addition to Veterans Park on North Bay. So I'd encourage everybody to get out and use that. Again, you know, the council voted on a skate park today. These are enhancements to our recreational program, and during the pandemic, and actually when everything opens back up again, you know, it's a nice opportunity to get outside and use these facilities. We have a presidential election coming up, and I've expressed my concerns before about the official mail-in ballot, and I'm bringing one with me tonight. This was delivered to my neighbor. His daughter has not lived in Toms River in 20 years, and she got a ballot. I have grave concerns about this vote by mail. I think there's no reason why we couldn't be voting by machine in this state and in the other states. If we can go to the grocery store and we can go to Lowe's and we can wait with 200 of our closest friends at DMV for a couple hours, we can darn sure go in and vote. This is a problem. I've expressed my concern with the voter rolls not being up to date in a lot of cases, and this is a prime example. This girl has lived in California for 20 years, and they sent it under her maiden name. She's been married for over 10 years. So this is the kind of problem that we're going to have with these ballots going forward. I think there'll be a loss of confidence in some of the outcomes, and it's a critical election. So again, I think it's a mistake not to vote by using a voting machine. If you're handicapped, you can vote on a voting machine. If you're able-bodied, you have to fill out a paper ballot. The purpose for paper ballots were for absentees, and that's a whole different thing. If you want to request a vote by mail, that gets checked, it gets verified, it's mailed to a legitimate address, and it's been verified that the person who's requesting the ballot actually lives at the location. And I think if you're able-bodied, we should be voting on a machine, and if you want to request a ballot for absentee or if you're handicapped, that is the purpose of the paper ballot, not a mass paper ballot. It's a giant step backwards in a developed country. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor Hill. Councilman Kopp?
Thank you, Council President. I would first like to thank our hard work and dedicated staff. All the hard work they're doing with this efficiency study is not going unnoticed. In times of uncertainty and crisis, it's been great to see this group of people working tirelessly to keep our community thriving by supporting small businesses, keeping our people of our town fed, and just bringing to light what a great community we have in trying times. On a more serious note, we had an incident happen this week where tragically a young man was shot. I have full confidence in our police department, along with the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office, that we work tirelessly to bring these individuals responsible to justice. And I'd like to ask the community of Toms River just to keep these young men in their prayers. That's all, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Kopp. Councilwoman York.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to call attention to one of the proclamations and honoring resolutions that we did today for National Family Caregiver Month. So especially during the pandemic, this has been particularly difficult for family members and caregivers for people who need care. They've had trouble getting PPE, and they haven't had their regular caregivers able to show up sometimes. And so to honor them this month and to give them credit for all the hard work they've been doing, especially under the circumstances, it's even harder. So I just wanted to make sure we addressed that. And then also, Exit 82, one of our businesses downtown, is going to be putting on the Rocky Horror Experience for Halloween. We can't have a parade. This is definitely not for children. It's an adult show, so it should be a lot of fun, though. It's going to be fully protected with masks and limited numbers of people and a rotating schedule. They'll do the show several times on a loop so that they can limit it to 20 people at a time, and they'll clean each location. You're going to go to 4 different locations for the event, and they clean each location after the group leaves before the next group comes in. So that's October 30th and 31st, and you could go to Exit 82's website to get tickets. And then I just wanted to remind everybody to plan ahead for Halloween this year. Usually you can just go run, grab a bag of candy, and you're good. This year we have to put a little more thought into it to make it safe. So you might think about putting a card table outside with the maybe bags of candy or just individually wrapped pieces out so that people don't have to reach into a bucket and touch all the candy. You can hand out little baggies that have several pieces if you're generous. And just remember to be safe, wear your masks, wash your hands, and that's it.
Thank you, Councilwoman York. Councilman Lotano.
Thank you, Council President. Like Mayor Hill said, the new fitness court in Veterans Park, the one thing that he didn't touch upon is there's a free app that goes along with it. You download the app, and the app actually tells you what exercises to do, when to move. You don't really actually have to know what you're doing to get through the workout. They made it pretty much good for any skill level. It's a nice little thing they did there. Also, downtown Toms River right now, they're doing the Scarecrow dress-up competition. You'll see if you leave here today or you come down on Washington Street, there are scarecrows on all the light poles. It's a competition. This year, I think they had like 26 people put in scarecrows that are decorated. There are ballots inside the businesses. If there's a poster on the window, you can vote, and I believe the ballot box is in the bid office right at 53 Main Street. Other than that, again, I want to commend the team who got the $1.5 million down on the revow, and that's all I have tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Lotano. Councilman Roderick?
I just wanted to talk a little bit about our ordinance that we passed tonight. It was in number 8 regarding the downtown redevelopment. The residents of Toms River sent a clear message to the leadership of this town in 2017 and again in 2019. They're sick and tired of overdevelopment. They don't want any more apartments. And now the administration is going out of its way to bring hundreds of new apartments to the town. We're actually going to give the developer property for free. The educational costs and services associated with these new apartments will far exceed any tax revenue generated by this pilot. This is based on the number of school-age children that the developer himself estimates will reside in these apartments. Residents don't want it. It's not going to do anything for the town. I don't understand why we're doing it, what the purpose is. If we want more business activity, we need to create an environment that is friendly for business. Maybe make it easier to park downtown, reduce tax burdens, things of that nature, encourage more liquor licenses. But hundreds of additional apartments downtown are not going to create a booming downtown environment. They're just going to increase the tax burden on our residents, make it harder to travel around town. And of course, as I've said, the residents don't want to say this. So that's why I voted no, and that is why I oppose these apartments.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Roderick. Councilman Gagan.
Thank you, Council President. On a more positive note, last week we attended the Vesta Cop. It was their 30th anniversary. It went very well considering the conditions, outside tents and whatnot. They still had some activities for the kids and whatnot. I also attended with a couple of councilmen and the mayor the fitness center. Even the app I could figure out. I didn't need my nephew to download it for me and figure it out, but I encourage anybody, stop by there, check it out, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. Next week, Oceans of Love, they have one of their bigger fundraisers. It's usually the billboard right outside Lowe's. On next Thursday night, October 22nd, usually all the emergency services, the fire departments, EMS, PD, they do a parade because they raise money, put it in one big pot, and bring it there. And then after that, on Saturday, October 24th, Silverton Fire Company, the Ladies Auxiliary, they're having a Pop the Trunk for the young kids for Halloween. As Councilwoman Lori Hurrick had said, it's more of a safe environment, controlled, and you can find out more information on the Silverton Fire Company Facebook page. But again, feel free to attend any of those events. And again, I would like to thank the team that saved us that money with the reevaluation. Fresh eyes are good, looking at each and everything, and we plan on working for you, the taxpayers. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Gagan. Councilman Turnbach.
Thank you, Council President. I want to echo Councilman Kopp's sentiments and send our thoughts and prayers out to the Cutler family tonight. There was a horrific incident really on Sunday night, and we pride ourselves in the safety of Toms River and really the safety of our downtown. And to hear of such an incident is it's just terrible. And been in touch with the prosecutor's office and the police department since Sunday night. I know they're working round the clock in an effort to apprehend who's ever responsible for this incident. The last trial in Ocean County that was returned during COVID was a murder out of the Hampton Gardens, and that's also here in Toms River. And one thing that was apparent during the course of that is that there was a lack of a surveillance system in place in the apartment complex. And I think it's time for the township. These are private apartment complexes. We can't mandate surveillance, but I think the township, the police department, and the owners of these apartment complexes should begin discussions about these surveillance systems to encourage them. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I have seen a lot of neighboring towns that have these systems, and they certainly aid the police department. So I'm going to encourage the township, the police department, and these apartment complexes to begin a dialogue about obtaining these surveillance systems, because it certainly will aid in the safety for our township residents. On a positive note, today the Toms River Education Foundation submitted permits for its first event. That's going to be a 5K run walk. It's going to be the day after Thanksgiving, November 27th, 2020. As long as the permits go through, it'll be in the afternoon. Toms River Education Foundation is set up to raise money. 100% of the funds will go to the students of Toms River to try and aid in the cuts that we've seen statewide. Lastly, the food distribution is running very strong. We had probably our strongest week last week. I cannot thank the volunteers, fulfill all the different agencies that are providing for the residents of our town. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow to discuss Thanksgiving and the providing of turkeys to the residents. So I really want to thank all of the volunteers, all of the agencies that continue week after week. Again, we're on week 31, and I'm proud that the township is answering the call. That's all I have, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Turnbuck. Just a couple things I'm just going to speak about tonight. Just to touch on the recreation aspect. COVID has put everybody indoors in quarantine and things of that nature. And it's really been a burden, I think, on our children the most because they're not attending school, they're virtual and everything. And any type of fitness program, any kind of outdoor activity that we as a township can provide for them is beneficial, especially with the unknown cuts that might be coming down the pike or probably will be coming down the pike from Toms River schools because of cuts from the state of New Jersey and things of that nature. So an investment in recreation is an investment in our children. So that was some of the reasons why I voted yes on those recreation programs this evening. On Saturday, we had a flag raising ceremony here. The Ocean County Columbus Day Parade Committee, they normally put on the Columbus Day Parade over in Seaside Heights and the Street Festival, and due to the circumstances this year, they could not. But they wanted to highlight the Italian heritage and the community, and they went to three of the largest municipalities within Ocean County, which was Berkeley, Toms River, and Brick, and for a flag raising in front of their municipal buildings. And then they ended with a ceremony on the Franklin Avenue stage over in Seaside Heights. I know the mayor and I were here to attend that. It was just a drive-by. No, people did not get out of their cars, but they had a procession of people that went from one municipality to the other. And it was quite an ordeal. I want to say it's probably about 30 or 40 vehicles that had to go from Berkeley to Toms River to Brick, down Mount Logan Road, Barrier Island, and over into Seaside Heights. And speaking with the parade chairman today, Mike Landina, he just wanted to extend his congratulations and also his best wishes to our police department for doing an outstanding job. He said the coordination from the police departments specifically was outstanding. There was a lot of traffic. There was a lot of people out on the road on Saturday, but this went off without a hitch. And I know it was done well. And I know when we were downtown, we had Skelly was with us, and he was coordinated that. But he just wanted me to mention it, that he wanted to thank the Toms River Police Department for all their efforts. Councilwoman here touched on Halloween, and I know that we are not having a parade here in Toms River this year, but they are going to be doing a celebration. I know that that's at Saturday, and they've moved it more to daytime hours, so when it's light outside, and for the children to at least partake. Just as Councilwoman Herrick had said, try to be as diligent with single wrapped and things of that nature, so it's easier to distribute to the children and also keeping safety in mind. Before we open to public comment, Mr. Roberts, can I just have you come up and just give us a little background on the Robbins Parkway redevelopment on that? That we just voted on this evening?
Yes, Council President, good evening. Basically, that resolution was to grant access to the parking lot. The redevelopment area on Robbins Parkway that was designated a year or two ago consists of two lots, lots 9 and lots 13. Lot 9 is the parking lot. Lot 13 is the Boatworks building. The redeveloper, in terms of developing concepts, which they're in the process of doing now, needed to be able to get into the parking lot to do test borings, it's basically a geotechnical analysis to see what the bearing capacity of the soil is. That's basically all it was involved with. We don't have we have an adopted redevelopment plan, but we don't have any kind of a redevelopment agreement with the developer for that property yet, or even a concept plan that has made it as far as the land use committee at this point. So we still have a ways to go on that, but this is an exploratory thing that they're doing in order to get a feel for the property itself.
Okay, so this is exploratory. That was my recollection of it. So we're not building 400 or 500 apartment buildings on this parcel.
There's no approved concept plan. The anticipated, the model that we have in the redevelopment plan shows for additional parking, which would be necessary to allow for the rest of Robbins Parkway to build out. Really, right now, there's really not even enough parking for the Water Street Bar and Grill, and that's a public parking lot. But in order to redevelop the rest of the peninsula of Robbins Parkway, there's definitely a lot more parking needed. So there's an assumption that there'll be a deck where the surface parking is now to multiply the number of spaces considerably. In order to pay for that, there's a redevelopment process that's needed, and we haven't even seen a concept plan, so we don't really have numbers yet. We don't even know how many levels the deck would be or anything like that. That's one of the reasons why they need to do the geotechnical analysis, so they don't know how much the ground can support.
The test borings to see that. Okay, great.
May I,
Thank
may I
you.
ask Mr. Roberts a question?
Sure.
So you're saying that we were never shown, this council was never shown a plan with
Not for that property.
Not for Robbins Parkway.
downtown, we were never shown plans for, and I didn't say 500, by the way, I
Okay.
said hundreds.
Okay, but I'm just saying for what we voted on tonight, it's for test borings on the
To
parking
test
lot.
To see if you can build
Parking.
parking for the
For
apartments.
possibly a restaurant, that was one of the concepts that
for
was floated for that
Capitaglia,
area.
Correct?
There
Was
hasn't been a
Capitaglia?
there hasn't been a specific concept plan that has been vetted. This is really just to see what the property, this is the parking lot that you park in when you go to Water Street Bar and Grill. That's the property we're talking about.
But we were shown plans, correct, for
Not for
apartments
this-
downtown?
We had a
By Capitaglia?
preliminary, about a year or so ago, there was a preliminary concept, but that they basically were told to go back to the drawing board. So we have not seen an actual concept plan that has been anything more than studies at this point. So nothing that's gone past
Just
staff review.
testing
and
the
comment.
soil, right?
I'm sorry?
We're just testing the soil, let's see what it can
That's
hold.
what this particular resolution was for, yes. They had to go in and drill holes in the parking lot to see what the cross-section of the soil underneath the parking lot is.
What
to
it
see
can hold, right?
What it can hold, right.
How it can hold, yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Okay, now we'll open the meeting up to public comment. Anyone from the public that wishes to speak, please raise your hand. Once called upon, please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Come on. Would you like to come up and speak?
My name is Tina Schneider. I live at 18 Pine Tree Road in the Green Island section of Toms River. We've been having an issue with the town for about a year now regarding commercial parking of a vehicle and running a business out of our home, which we would at this time like for the council to reevaluate those laws to fit the 2020 lifestyle that a lot of people have businesses.
Okay, Tina, can I ask you a question? Has this involved any code enforcement or any
Yes.
action by municipal court or anything of that nature?
Yes.
Okay, I believe since it's in front of municipal court, can we speak about this, Mr. Fitzsimmons?
We did go to court.
All right, let's just get a ruling from our attorney first before we go any further, okay?
You can speak in general. I don't know
Yeah, I would just.
where it's going, but normally when a case is before a municipal court, we refrain from commenting on the details because that finding is allocated to the municipal court judge.
Okay, yeah, I understand that as well. Sorry, I just wanted to kind of bring it to, maybe that it could be revisited or to be reevaluated.
Sir, we're going to have you speak one at a time. I'll call you up, okay?
This is my husband.
Okay.
This is my husband, so that's why
You still have your 5 minutes, though. You could say what you'd like to say. Go ahead, say what you'd like to say.
That running a business out of your home, I just really don't understand how having a tile guy or a roofer guy or a tree service or a carpet cleaning guy, if that's running a business out of your home, technically, because you have to go to the location or to the job site to actually do the job. So if you have childcare or nail salon or a hair salon or something like that, and you have people coming to your home, parking in front of your home, and have employees coming, that's a little bit different. That's running a business out of your home. You have people coming, you have customers, you have clients coming to your home. But when you're a tile guy or a roofer guy or a tree guy, that you go to the location, you do the estimate, you get the job, and you do the job at the location of the property, I don't understand how that qualifies as running a business out of your home. So that's part of my, I guess, my question, or, you know, maybe we can get some kind of clarification on that. And also, as far as running a business out of your home, part of the paperwork that we got said that you need a permit to run a business out of your home, and we were never given the opportunity to get that, and I was just wondering if we could get a permit from the township to be able to have a commercial vehicle. Being a commercial vehicle is just a pickup truck and a trailer, and so that's just about what I wanted
Okay,
to say.
so you're talking about having a commercial business running from your home with vehicles that are on your, in your driveway or parked on the street, or? Okay. Mr. Amoruso, would you be able to meet with the homeowner and give them some clarification on that?
If it's your wish, but I've spoken to them numerous times, and it's with the courts.
Is it, okay.
So I really got to be cautious about what we say to them.
Okay.
This is a back and forth situation between several neighbors. It's been going on for a number of years. We've had code enforcement involved, we've had the police department involved, and finally it ended up in court, and that's where I believe it is right now.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
So
we have a court case on November 2nd that we have paperwork for that. But in the meantime, it seems like the situation and the rules keep changing to fit the situation. Every single time that somebody comes out to the house, they're like, oh, well, the trailer's fine as long as you have it attached to a vehicle, which it always is attached to the pickup truck out. And then, no, now you can't have the vehicle. You can't have the vehicle, you can't have the truck, you can't have the business at all. That's where we're at right now. And we have to take down our website, and we're not allowed to have our business, and we're not allowed to have a vehicle, and we're not allowed to have a trailer, and I just don't understand how you can take somebody's livelihood away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it
Okay.
me?
I was going to say, since seems that Mr. Amoruso is familiar with this, and I believe probably most of our staff that are in the room, and you do have a court case, we will not be commenting on this for this evening until something has been finalized.
Okay, like
Okay.
I said, I just wanted.
But you were
attention that-
more than welcome to, state your opinion and state your issues here. Okay?
All right, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to comment? Sir, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
18 Pine Tree Road,
Your name, please?
Evan,
Last name, Evan?
Schneider.
Okay.
I feel that this is selective enforcement. If you go down Green Island, there's commercial vehicles everywhere. And and the way the township officials treated us is unacceptable, okay? Craig screamed at my wife, screamed at her on the phone. And what's the answer to that? And the other guy, Bernie, whatever his name is, played stupid, okay? This is unacceptable of the township officials, and it should be addressed. I emailed him 1 million times, and I get no answers. So, it's unacceptable.
Well, sir, this is stated for court on November 2nd. We will not be
Well, you
commenting,
know
we will
what?
not be
I'm
addressing
not paying this
that.
township a penny. That's all I have to say.
Okay?
Yeah, Mr. Snyder? Okay, you're a public employee. You should understand that personnel matters are confidential. It was,
Listen.
allow me to, you made a statement.
If I talk to a resident like this guy talked to my wife, I would be fired instantly. Okay?
Okay.
That's
I'm gonna,
unbecoming of an official in this township.
going to say that his supervisor was made aware of the situation, and he's investigating it, and that's all I can tell you, because it is a personnel matter.
Made her cry on the phone, screaming at her. screaming at her. There's no reason for that. And you should handle it.
It's being handled. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wish to, excuse me, sir, you had your time to speak. We're going to continue with the meeting. Anyone else from the public? Sir, I'm going to ask you, please, not to comment. Anyone from the public wishing to comment, please raise your hand. Sir, you can come up to the mic. State your name and address for the record.
Marvin Leadbeater, 1608 Otter Drive, Toms River. I had a question about the surf club that you're purchasing. What is the Toms River Township giving up to the county, a piece of property that was heard about? Can you explain that to me? And how much is Toms River, the township, on the hook for paying for this property?
Okay.
To get a bond to pay for it over the years?
Sir, on the advice of our attorney, we will not be commenting on anything in regard to the surf club this evening until our negotiations are finalized.
Well, once they're finalized, it's done, right?
We are in the process now of mediation with the owners of the surf club. If an agreement is reached to acquire the property, there are other matters that have to come before the public. There would have to be a bond ordinance that would have to be passed, that would have to come before the public, that would answer your questions with respect to the cost element. But at this point, it's simply premature, and it would violate the confidentiality of the mediation process to discuss it. Those items will have to be discussed publicly at a later date.
Okay, thank you. And the part about the county wants a piece of property that Toms River owns in order for them to give us funding? What property is that? Nobody knows that yet? Or you can't discuss that yet either?
That will all come before the public,
Okay.
before it is permitted. There has to be an ordinance that permits any exchange of property or sale of property, be it with a private individual, such as the owners of the surf club, or a public entity such as the county.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else from the public wishing to comment this evening? Mr. Anderson?
Art Anderson, 12 Park Street. Like I said, I live in downtown Toms River. I love what's happening downtown. It's been a great last 2 months. Our neighborhood did a COVID-19 Oktoberfest last weekend, and we had a really good time. But the only thing that bothered me, there was a little rumor that went around, basically saying that Toms River was acquiring other towns' low-income tax credits. Does anybody know about that? Can you speak
No.
about that? No?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else from the public wishing to comment this evening?
There is no other public comment. I move to close the public comment session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law.
We need a motion. We just closed the public comment. We need a
All right,
motion.
I'll
for
make a motion,
Executive
move into
session.
executive. Oh, sorry, Laura.
Second.
Council.
Motion made by Council Vice President Gagan, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances to discuss matters requiring confidentiality and/or of a privileged nature. And whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean and State of New Jersey as follows. The Township Council will now conduct a private executive session. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed and or acted upon is as follows: attorney-client privilege communications, contract negotiations, and personnel matters. The following specific items to be discussed and or acted upon are as follows: the executive session minutes review of September 22nd, 2020, personnel issues of the Township Clerk's Office and Administration, and the review of status of all real property acquisitions. It is anticipated that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Council that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. Motion made by Council Vice President Gagan, seconded by Councilman Yurick at 7 o'clock on the dot.
You're going downstairs, right?
Yes, we are.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt the executive session minutes of September 22nd, 2020. I'll call roll. Motion made by Councilwoman Yurick, second by Councilman Latano. Councilwoman Yurick? Yes. Councilman Latano? Yes. Councilman Kopp? Yes. Councilman Roderick?
I'm going to have to abstain. I wasn't present.
Councilman Turnbach? Yes. Council Vice President Gagan? Yes. Council President Maruka?
Yes.
Motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 7:19. Good night, everyone.